What up guys, welcome back to a very highly requested video up on the channel. That is every character in Fortnite and the role that they've played in the Fortnite storyline from Season 1 all the way through to Season 6. This is a monstrous video. I spent a ton of time editing it, gathering the information, so a little challenge for you guys. If you could do me a huge favour, go down, drop a big fat like on today's video. If we can go for 5,000 likes, I reckon you guys can straight up crush that anyway. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you're going down, subscribing with notifications turned on. And once you've done that, actually, comment in the comment section down below. I'm going to be replying to a ton of you guys that have done that. Also, if you want to use my supporter creator code in the item shop, it's macmacsyt. It would be awesome to see some of you guys rocking that in the item shop. Yeah, without further ado, let's jump straight into it, all the way from Season 1 to Season 6, what the characters have played in the storyline. Let's get straight into it. Right, so, where did the storyline begin? We can rule out Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3, okay? All the characters that we saw in them seasons literally meant nothing. There's no backstory or storyline behind any of these characters because we didn't see the Meteor event until the end of Season 3, and that's where things started to kick off. So, Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3, the characters literally meant nothing. There was no storyline, so they played no part at all. They were just random to do with a theme for that season. So, this is where we begin. The Meteor at the end of Season 3. What did it do? It came down, crashed into the map, and started Season 4, and that is where the storyline began, and where all the characters had an influence on the storyline. So we're going to start off with quite a collection of people to start off with. They're up on screen here. These are the cast, the actors. You guys remember all of these story cards right here? Boom, 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 boom. All of these. Some of them were iconic in a way. Yeah, they literally meant nothing to the storyline whatsoever. I remember during Season 4 making a ton of videos speculating what these characters, the storyline that they were playing. It turns out at the end of Season 4, all they were characters in a cast for a movie that we're shooting. It actually had no impact on the Fortnite event. You can see so many of like the iconic characters just sitting here. You got Moisty Merman, you know, you got Omega, you've got Carbide, tons of them in there. And they literally meant nothing to the storyline, which is kind of sad. Obviously, they were shooting a story throughout the whole of Season 4, and there was actually a ton of characters that entered the Fortnite item shop in particular that played a huge part on the storyline. So the first pair of characters that got released in the item shop for Season 4 were the Jailbirds. These thieves actually had no role in the storyline whatsoever, again, but their glider, if you remember it, it was called Starry Flight, and it was kind of based on the Starry Night painting by Vincent van Gogh. If you look at it closely, it referenced to the Fortnite Mares event that's happening currently in Fortnite right now. The painting shows vortexes and like purple rifts up in the sky. Supposedly it is a little teaser towards the Fortnite Mares event, but again, the Jailbirds in the Fortnite storyline had nothing to do with it, which is kind of boring, really. So next up, you guys probably forgot about these skins, the Outbreak skins, okay? These guys were the ones that were investigating the hot rocks that were going on in Dusty Divot. You can see by this screenshot here of their characters. They were the ones that were supplying Omega and Fate, which we're going to be talking about in a minute, with the hot rocks. You guys will see what they were for. These guys were investigating the hot rocks in Dusty Divot and then shipping them off in trucks to the supervillain's base, which obviously included the rocket. You guys will see what they did with the hot rocks with the rocket in a minute. The way that they're bodied up and stuff suggests that the whole hot rock sort of thing could be dangerous for their health. But yes, like I said, they were the ones that put the hot rocks in the trucks and then delivered them to the villain's base. Next up in the storyline, Fate. A huge character that played quite a big role in this storyline that no one really knows about. There was only one loading screen that she had, which kind of suggested she disposed of all the people in the villain's base. You can see in the background, she just killed a couple of people, so it looks like she was the one that was disposing of people in the villain's base. And then Fate's description indicates that she's seen a future event through her back bling. If you remember her back bling, it was like an orb. We'll see in a minute, actually was used to predict the future. The way the whole of the base was set up and the logo everywhere suggested that the base and rocket belonged to Fate. And the next character that we're going to talk about is Omen. So these two were working together, Fate and Omen. So Omen's loading screen, you can see right here, suggests that he's looking into the orb inside his pickaxe, which was the same orb that we saw on the Fate's back bling. Unlike any of the villain actors, Omen's skin is the only one to show the purple villain logo on his chest and on his cape. And the way he's looking into this orb, it looks like he can see into the future and can see the evil event that the future is going to hold, which we're in right now, which is the Fortnite Mayor's event. Again, it was both Omen and Fate that owned the villain's base, and the way that they all programmed the rocket was that it was going to hit Tilted Towers. That's where we're going to be coming on to the blockbuster skin in a minute. And the chances are that Omen was being foretold the future about the cube and the Fortnite Mayor's event through his orb in his pickaxe. Omen and Fate were the controllers of the rocket originally, which was set to target Tilted Towers, but that got interrupted, obviously, as we saw with the blockbuster skin, which we're going to be talking about in a minute. So next up, Vertex, kind of like a mysterious character in a way, wasn't spoken about much at all, and he was only in the item shop a couple of times, I believe. So Vertex is actually Omen and Fate's rival. You can see by this screenshot here, he's going down to gun down Omen. His whole set, I remember in the item shop, it was described as him wanting to change the course of something. So Fortnite actually tweeted out his loading screen of him fighting Omen, and the caption was, change the course of battle. So considering his enemies were Omen and Fate, chances were that he was trying to stop all the evil events that were happening, or that was going to happen in Fortnite. So this whole thing of Vertex was to stop the evil plan of Omen and Fate, which they had a plan to blow up Tilted Towers, and that was the whole mission for Fate and Omen, was to blow up Tilted Towers, with Vertex trying to stop the mission. Now, a big character in the storyline, the Visitor, obviously came out of the meteor in Dusty Divot, which looked to be an escape pod, okay? So he came through on the meteor, hit Dusty Divot, the Visitor came out in an escape pod. There was actually people in Dusty Divot that were mining away at the meteor, kind of excavating it, and started this whole storyline that we're seeing through Season 4, 5, and 6 now. So the Visitor actually got his way out of the meteor and then headed straight towards the villain's base, where he actually modified the rocket. We can see by this screenshot here, meaning that it was already a working rocket, and that he was modifying it to kind of space, time, and travel, I guess, was his whole thing. He wanted to go back where he came from. So his changes that he made with the rocket would kind of break the whole space and time theorem, turning it into his own spaceship towards another dimension. And what he actually ended up doing, which I don't think he knew, was that he ended up saving Tilted Towers. As you guys remember, he teleported just before Tilted Towers were going to get hit by the rocket, which was obviously set up by Fate and Omen to do so. Not much is actually known by the Visitor, except that he came from outer space, obviously through the meteor. The way that his armor's set up and his back bling, it looks like he's an outlaw, so he's like a bounty hunter. The way it is now, he was responsible for the whole series event with the rocket, which is turned into the fracture in the sky, which turned to the cube. We're going to be talking about that more in a minute. So the next characters I want to talk about was the detectives. They were kind of like only subtly put into the game for a short amount of time. The whole role of the detectives kind of come after the rocket shatters in the sky. We saw through the cinematic trailer for Season 5, the rocket blasting through, we saw the detectives in this scene. If you guys remember, an agency actually opened in Retail Row where they begin to investigate what actually happened with the shatter in the sky. So 2 of the detectives actually seem to be working together, while the other one was kind of a rival to the other. So the 2 males were rival to each other. They both had their own wanted posters in their pockets, suggested they were both after each other. And then what was kind of interesting was the back bling that came with one of the detectives actually had the drawing of the giant footprint that was in Greasy Grove on his back bling, which suggested they were kind of looking into the events of that as well. Now, to end off the Season 4 characters, they didn't really play much of an event at all. They were kind of like for seasonal things or for certain things that were being added into the game. So we saw the basketball characters, pretty cool. We then saw the Renegade Raiders, which was to do with the event of spray paints being added into the game. We then got like the laser kind of people. There was no event for this. They were completely random characters. And then we got the guy with the gas mask, which was added in the same time that the stink bombs were added. So it was kind of like a partnering thing. The stink bombs came to the game, so did this guy with the gas mask. So they had no influence on the storyline at all. So they were all the Season 4 characters that played kind of like a role in the storyline to do with Season 4. Now we move on to Season 5 and all the characters in Season 5. We're going to start off here with Drift. So Drift came, as you guys saw, from another dimension, which was from the real world, which is actually a place in California. If you guys remember the cinematic trailer for the end of Season 4. Throughout the whole storyline of Season 5, it was called The Road Trip. It was kind of a weird storyline, I'm not going to lie. It didn't really make much sense. So Drift actually ends up meeting Rex, the Cuddle team leader, and the Bright Bomber, who they actually quickly become friends, as we saw throughout all the storyline cards. And Drift became very, very close with Bright Bomber. Not much is actually known about Drift, except that he slowly kind of like gradually gets new parts to his outfit, and it becomes more charged with pink lightning bolts. And then the way that it just cut off the storyline at the end of Season 5 with Drift completely just disappearing, we can kind of guess that the Dark Bomber actually ended up killing Drift. I know crazy. He hasn't been seen in Season 6 at all. So next up, we're going to be talking about the racers. They were introduced with the whole golf buggies coming to the map. So we had the Cobra Crew, we had the Vanishing Point, and then we had the Biker Brigade. They played no part in the storyline, but they were characters that I wanted to cover that I didn't want to leave out just because they didn't play a part in the storyline. Next up, the Vikings. So the Vikings actually ended up coming through the rift as well. They were from obviously another dimension, and they ended up, as you guys know, spawning on the mountain next to Greasy Grove. This was like their village in a way, and we actually thought that they might be Drift's enemies. It turns out they were neither. They were just part of the theme for the new location in Fortnite. And despite being the tier 100 reward for the Season 5 Battle Pass, Ragnarok never actually showed up in the storyline, which kind of sucks. So some weird people we're going to be talking about next, the Paradise people. There was only one screenshot of these two. They were a couple. They were just unimportant. Monica's hoodie is actually found in the shops at Lazy Link and the golf cart course as well. So nothing is known about these characters except that they came with like the Paradise theme. Yeah, they're kind of weird characters. Next up, the Garage Band. These guys, they're not related to the power chord that everybody thought they were originally. They were actually part of a different band called Grasshopper, while Power Call's band was actually called The Storms. Again, not much is known about them. They seem to have come with the Paradise theme again. Didn't play a part in the storyline. The loading screen, again, is just confusing, really. The next characters for Season 5 that I wanted to talk about was this squad right here. They're all part of the Advanced Forces set, and they're kind of like, I see them as like the Fantastic Four. They all played a part in like scouting missions, so sniping and stuff like that. We've got a character here called Battlehawk, which suggests to me like he might be a pilot, judging by his name. And then the Sledgehammer outfit is a demolisher expert. You can see by the emblem on the left of his chest. So again, kind of weird characters I just wanted to cover for this video. Next up, we got the Enforcers. So they obviously came from another dimension, supposedly like the police, I guess. And they came to the island to fix things. They bring back stuff like the motel sign, and they brought back Tomato Temple as well, which was actually from the evil world, the other dimension. So obviously there was that theory of Drift dying to Dark Bright Bomber. There is also the theory the Enforcers might have brought Drift back to his normal world. To be like a secret skin in the storyline and then not play much part in a role of the storyline was weird. They were stupid, they didn't do anything, not much is known about them at all. They also have like a triangle emblem on their back, which is also reused on a lot of the textures inside the Wailing Woods lab that we've got currently. So the next characters I want to talk about, Beach Patrol. These characters, although one of them being in the Battle Pass and one of them coming in the item shop, they only made an appearance at the end of Season 5 in the cinematic trailer for Season 6. These guys were protecting Loot Lake when it was bouncy, and they were ones putting around signs saying don't swim in the water, obviously because they're lifeguard. And these characters, the Beach Patrol characters, were the first to witness the cube event happening and rising out of Loot Lake. And I'm not going to lie, we've got a couple more Season 5 characters that are kind of, again, irrelevant. But the Season 5 storyline altogether, I'm going to put it out there, was irrelevant. It was so stupid. It was like, didn't make any sense at all. It was kind of weird the way it was set up. It was like it was set up to, like, build up for Season 6. Like, compared to Season 4, with the whole visitor traveling to the rocket and creating the rift, that was awesome. That storyline with the meteor to the rocket was awesome. From then on, with the road trip, up until now, the cube event, it's been rubbish. Like, the storyline has been rubbish. The characters, there's only been a couple of characters that have played an event. The rest have literally just been irrelevant, which we're going to be talking about right now. You're going to see up on screen here. We got the two scuba divers. You can see with the screenshot here. It was kind of like a fun kind of cinematic, I guess. They were kind of like fun characters to add into the item shop. Again, played no part in the storyline. Then had 80s themed characters added to Fortnite. Again, no relevance whatsoever, just some random skins. Not gonna lie, they look pretty cool. And then obviously we had the high stakes character, which was obviously for the event that went on. But apart from that, that is all the characters covered that either made an appearance in the battle passes through Season 4 and Season 5, or that played a part in the storyline that came from the item shop. Not gonna lie, there was more characters that came from the item shop that actually played a role in the whole, like, to the storyline that's gone on so far, compared to people that were actually in the battle pass that was supposed to do with the storyline. Like I said, towards the end of Season 3 and the Season 4 storyline was the best. Nearly all the characters played a role in some sort. The storyline was awesome. Compared to Season 5, the storyline has been rubbish, and obviously Season 6 has only just started, so we can't really tell what the storyline's going to be. But as it is right now, it looks like they're all hunting each other, and that's all we can make out at the moment. Guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. I know, quite a lengthy one, but I wanted to cover all the characters that have made an appearance throughout Season 4 and Season 5. Let me know in the comment section down below if there's any characters that I've missed out, because obviously I need to cover them. I don't think I've missed out any, but if I have, let me know down below. This overview has given you a good insight to what the storyline has actually been told. I know I make a lot of videos on like theories on what's going to happen to the season. So like at the moment we're halfway through season 6. I've made a lot of videos kind of like theory on what's going to happen to the storyline throughout season 6. But now that season 4 and season 5 have happened, we can see the whole overview of the storyline. Season 3 to season 4 was awesome, and then season 5 to season 6 has been rubbish. So that's my conclusion. If you guys enjoyed, if you could do me a huge favour, like I said, drop a like on today's video. I've spent an absolute ton of time getting this together. If you guys are new around here, make sure you're subscribing to the channel down below, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Yeah, it's been your boy Max. Have a good day, and a peace out.